Hi, I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead, and here we are on top of our mountainside. This is part of our property here in Idaho, and I wanted to show you something. So, hiking around up here a couple weeks ago, I found some red-belted polypore mushrooms. I'm so excited about these because they have medicinal properties. They're very safe to use, and I'm going to show you how to forage them right now. All right, so these are polypore mushrooms. They're a species of shelf mushroom. This specific species is a red-belted polypore with a Latin name of Fomitopsis mouncea. People used to think that these were Fomitopsis pinicola, but those are found more commonly on the East Coast, and here we're obviously on the West Coast. So these kinds of medicinal mushrooms are found throughout North America in the northern part of the United States and up into Canada and Alaska. And they're very tough. They're really hard mushrooms. They're full of polysaccharides, and they're just amazing. We're going to go ahead and harvest one of these. And I just want to say they're very hard, and might take me with a little effort here to pull this up. There we go. And what these mushrooms do is they decompose the log. They love growing on dead, fallen evergreen trees like pines or spruce, fir, hemlock, but they love these. So I'm going to pick the bark off here, or I probably could do that when I get home, I suppose. The thing about these mushrooms is you don't want to harvest them unless you know you're going to be able to preserve them or process them right away, because once they're dried, they're impossible to cut. So you can see one of the reasons why they're called polypore is because they have millions of little pores on the underside. So if you take a look at this, the white band grows out, and then over time, it changes to a red band, and then it turns brown. So I'm guessing that this polypore is probably 2 or 3 years old. All right, so let's head back to the house and we will prepare this mushroom, and I'll talk more about its medicinal qualities too. So here I am. We're back from foraging on top of the mountain, and I need to prepare this beautiful, beautiful polypore mushroom before it hardens. Because if I wait, I won't be able to cut it at all. I mean, literally, you need like a bandsaw to cut these when they're hard, and they harden really fast. So before I start cutting into it, though, I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about what they're useful for. All right, so there's a lot of medicinal actions to these mushrooms, and we'll just go ahead and talk through a few of them right now. So you can powder them up as a hemostat. That's number one. Other herbs that you can use as hemostat are that are styptic herbs, which means they stop bleeding really fast. They have major clotting activities for our bodies, include yarrow, and to an extent, plantain, and there are some others as well. Cayenne pepper is excellent, but these mushrooms are also really good. So if you're out in the wild and you run across these, you could actually, use one of these as a poultice, but you can also powder up the bits once they're dried and use that too. And the powder is very lightweight, so these would be great for like a survival pack or something like that. They're wonderful for headaches. I've heard that people used to smoke the dried mushrooms, and it would help get rid of a headache. And the Native Americans used to use these as preservatives in soups and stews. So they were nomadic primarily, especially in this area of the country where we live. We have several tribes, and they would have the teepees and pack up and go. Well, if they had food, they didn't waste their food. They put, bits of these mushrooms into the soups and stews, and that would help to preserve the soups and stews. So very strong antimicrobial qualities. Other actions that these mushrooms have is that they are anti-tumor, so they can help with some kinds of tumor situations, and they are immunomodulating plants. So that means that they're wonderful. They get into your body and they don't completely activate your immune system or suppress it. Instead, they balance it. So if you have an overactive immune system, they can be very helpful. If you have an underactive immune system, also very helpful. But those kinds of plants and herbs are just wonderful. These are antibacterial. They have antiviral qualities. They are antipathogenic, so they tend to kill the hurtful and harmful bacteria and viruses, and they are adaptogens. Many of the medicinal mushrooms like reishi and lion's mane and chaga, they are adaptogens, and so is this polypore. This polypore, if powdered up, would be a wonderful daily tonic for health and wellness. In addition to that, it's wonderful for diarrhea. So if you have diarrhea, these can be helpful. Another thing these can do, and this is where you want to be careful with the amount you take. But sorry, my dog just sneezed. But they have mild emetic qualities. So if you end up taking a little too much, it might cause vomiting, but they're not toxic at all. And they're antioxidant, so they're really, nutritive and supportive, and they're good for the liver as well. So you can see these just have like tons and tons of wonderful actions. Now, the reason they get so hard is because they are full of polysaccharides, and polysaccharides are wonderful nutritives. But the thing is that you can't extract the broad range of constituents from these with just a tea or with just a tincture, although you can use either or. The best thing to do is to do a double extraction. So I'll do a video on that later on, so then show you how to do it. In fact, I'll probably use this polypore because that's what I'm planning on doing with it. But essentially a dual extraction is when you extract the constituents of the tea of water, using water as the solvent, and you extract the constituents using alcohol as a solvent, and then you combine them, and you have a really nice broad range use of this plant. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to tell you, except that they are really wonderful when dried. You just need to, like I said, prepare them quickly. And as far as toxic lookalikes, I should mention that really fast. There really are no toxic lookalikes. They are very safe. They're wonderfully safe mushrooms. They're really cool. They're very moist when you pick them at first. So I'm just really excited to work with this mushroom, and I will share how to use it in another video. And right now, I'm going to go ahead and cut this little mushroom into little bits and strips, like very small. And then I'm going to dry them for use in a powder and also tinctures and teas, as well as a double extraction. All right, I hope you enjoyed this quick foraging video on the red-belted polypore, Fomitopsis mouncea, and that's the Latin name. And I was so thrilled to find this mushroom on the top of the mountain. I just couldn't believe it. So here we go. Thanks for being here. I'm Heidi Villegas with Healing Harvest Homestead. Be sure that you go to the description, click show more, and be sure to grab a copy of my How to Relax Using Herbs and Essential Oils guide. It is wonderful. It's 24 pages with information on managing stress and tons of recipes for you in here using herbs and essential oils. So you need to get that. I also have an herbal remedy guide if you'd like to have that for your home apothecary. All right, that's all I have for you today. Have a wonderful one, and I hope you enjoy this foraging video. All right, here we are at the top of the mountain. It is so gorgeous up here. We are having a really cold, wet spring, and here we are, it's mid-May, and finally the snow has melted. This is a lot of wood here. We need to get off the top of the mountain, and we're gathering our firewood, and have been meaning to get up here for a couple of years to get this finished up, but life, right? Anyway, this is a view of our mountain and just how gorgeous it is here in Idaho. And here is a little colony of polypore mushrooms that we happened upon. And I just love these things. They're medicinal and have wonderful properties, and something good to know about when you're foraging. Other springtime herbs to forage up here on top of the mountain include dandelion, there's cleavers, bits of chickweed here and there. And down below where our house is, we have the pineapple weed is starting to come up, and a few other forageable herbs. You know what? The wild roses here are so common I forget about them. But lots and lots of things to forage. Oregon grapefruit, you know, the pines, of course, the western red cedar, all kinds of beautiful things to forage. Hawthorn trees grow numerously here, Crataegus species. I had a question asked of me the other day, what can I substitute in my herbal tea for dried rose petals? And my immediate answer was hawthorn flowers and hawthorn leaves. They are wonderful. They're part of the same family, which is Rosaceae. And the flowers are fairly interchangeable, so that's really good to know and nice too. All right, have a beautiful day. I hope you get out and go hiking.